Hey guys, I wanted to cover this too. So what I've always done, and I want to get better at taking advantage of these moves when they happen, right? Obviously, in stocks, equity markets, equity futures doesn't happen very often, but you can really see stuff here where we've talked about this in the winning trades video that I just put out a little bit ago, right? We took the Izzy trade up here, and we took the I love you, and then I took a bark off of that. So the idea or the pattern that I've been seeing where you can, we already know, so if I'm short off of this event, right, and then we get a new event, well, my stop from that event is taken down, so there's the yellow line, it's taken down to the newest event, so I would trail my stop there. But when you see a situation like this, when you hear a new event, instead of, we talk about the patterns with the market pulse, and there's going to be a course on this, but this is the volume pressure imbalance, right? So I have mine set to an hour. This is showing me the most selling in the last hour. Well, if I'm in a trade and I start to hear events, I already know I'm basically, this is a complete variation of what we've been doing. It's way more advanced, but keep an eye on this going forward, right? So if I'm short this market, and say I'm not even short, and I get an event, well, we always wait for our patterns to get in this, or I wait for a full ATR out of the area. There is a way when you see this stuff and you see these events going to the bearish side, right? Well, say I'm short this, and just a new position aside, I mean, without already being in position, right? So we're talking about me being in this short from earlier. When I hear the event, not only am I trailing my stop to this event, now I could possibly just jump in right here, add some size to it, and then trail it to that same spot. When would it be valid, or when would be your best opportunity to do that? Yeah, it's a new event and you're not risking much if you just jump in the minute you hear it. But look at what went on here as this moved down, right? So we got in here, you got a stop run, but you see here, I mean, this is the most selling in the last hour. You had that. That's where we got short, basically. One of the strategies. But as this came down, you can see extreme selling, extreme selling, extreme selling. Yeah, that's part of the stop run, but the stop run, it was barely threshold. That's not causing this. There's other sellers involved, right, in this whole area. So my point is, if you're watching this and you're like, you hear an event, you're like, well, I'm going to just jump in here. All I got to do is risk up to this area to get the ATR. I'm not going to wait for this to confirm. I'm just going to jump in because I see the sellers hammering it, right? So you're in there. Then you're sitting in, and then here's another event. This was a double whammy, right? You had the buy ice and stop run. But look at this. I mean, this is what's triggering the buy ice, but there's more sell, more extreme selling, more extreme selling. So let's just hypothetically say now you jump in another event. So first of all, we're now trailing our stop that was up there. We trail it to there. Now we're trailing it to this. And I would actually move it out of that prior event like we talk about all the time. But now you see this, you're like, okay, here's an event. I'm going to jump in. I'm going to put on more size. All right, so now you got the original position on, you add because of that and the event. Comes down, you add because of the event, and you see more selling, right? So now you're in. Now you get another event. Do you add on this event? Well, what you can see the difference here as this came down, this event fired off. Look at this. Look at the selling dissipate as far as these events. I mean, there's even one here kind of through there, but you can see as it's made a new low. Actually, I take that back. In this event, you would have seen more. But you can see it's already drying up a little bit, right? You're barely seeing a tip here of selling. And then these are extreme as far as getting the threshold. It's almost 100. These were 100% of the selling for the last hour, right? So you can see it's dissipating. Yeah, you could jump in here, but now you see this making a lower low. The sellers are not winning anymore as far as the volume pressure. And then what do you see? Well, you didn't see any of that. This whole move down here, right? You saw it up here when it moved up. That means somebody's starting to buy it aggressively here, which is the most buying last hour. That's the most important. Yeah, you can see the aggressive market buying with the bubbles. But this is showing you this is the most buying last hour. That's a heads up. Doesn't mean it can't. We have a pattern for this. Again, that's going to be a market pulse course as well. But it's telling you heads up, right? And then you come down again, and then you see barely, I mean, it's definitely not threshold, it's not making the black tip, right? Where you wouldn't add, and then you'd say, okay, I'm not adding, and then you trail your stop to that event, and you stop out basically. I'd move it out of that event. But the point is, you get some adds on to this. This is a way you can add to your trade. It's definitely advanced, For you newer traders in here, follow the regular rules. But for you traders that have been here for a while and are doing well, this is a way you can say, hey, I'm just going to jump in. I see that. I'm just going to jump in, risk to that. I don't have to wait for the ATR out of here or the ATR retest. I'm going to add a couple more. You could even add a couple more here. It did move in your favor, right? But then you're like, okay, something's starting to change here. Here's your buyers coming in. Most buying last hour. Then it makes another low. You get buy ice again, and the selling's starting to dry up, right? It came up here and then selling came back in a little bit. But the point is, as it made a low, it's telling you heads up between these two. You see what I'm saying? So it's a way to use the volume, pressure, and balance while you're in these position trades off the SI event. So we'll go over more of this in the live trading webinars, but keep an eye out for this. It can really help you capitalize on a whopping move